So, hello, I'm Naomi Korn. I'm the CEO and founder of Naomi Korn Associates, and I'm delighted to be joined by my colleague from CILIP, Laurentine.
Hello, I'm Laurentine, and really great to be here with you, Naomi. I'm Laurentine from CILIP. I am a training and partnerships officer there, and most of my job is to be able to work with our partners, such as Naomi Korn, who is one of Naomi Korn Associates, one of our most valuable partners, to be able to talk about the different trainings that we do. Really glad to be here with you, Naomi.
Oh, thanks, Laurentine. Yeah, I mean, this is a really great opportunity for us to talk about the benefits of attending, particularly our training courses that we've been running in partnership for a number of years now. The Copyright Essentials training course is one of our best sellers, and we've had over the years a number of librarians and information professionals attend our training sessions and really skill up in this often complex area, but also develop the confidence and skills to apply copyright to their workplace situations. But we're also acutely aware, aren't we, that there are often challenges with getting sign off to attend our courses. And so today's webinar is very much about giving the people who are watching us today some clear reasons for attending copyright training, some of the benefits and some of the business cases that they can make to their line managers about why attending copyright training is so important.
Yes, definitely. And thank you for that because that's definitely a question that comes up a lot, especially in this specific context where we are with a lot of like budgets tightening. So why is copyright training a priority when budgets are tight?
Well, copyright impacts any type of content engagement, whether it's commissioning or creating or using or publishing. And the role of a librarian and information professional is all about being the facilitator of access to content. It's about providing colleagues, whether they are staff and also students or partners, with informed information about what content they can access. And so, even though attending copyright training costs, and particularly the valuable copyright essentials training that we run together in partnership, I believe that the value of attending our training is about developing those skills and that confidence, but also getting things wrong can be so expensive. Infringements or accidentally using content where people don't have permission. We know from what we hear on the grapevine that it can be really expensive for a library, for the services that support our colleagues gaining access to content. And so, whether it's takedown requests or unexpected licensing fees, certainly a small investment in copyright training can avoid the large costs that can come when people don't have the knowledge that they need.
That's great. So it kind of feels like they would be saving some money in the end rather than actually spending. Doesn't it feel like it? Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
So what if they're asked by their manager, or is a team member, or their learning and development teams, what uh how does copyright training add value to the organization?
Well, really, the type of training that we offer, which is live online, facilitated by someone who knows about copyright, actually, it's normally by me. Um, it's very much about helping staff take some of that confidence that they're already developing in the training space back to their workplace to help them make those decisions, those compliant decisions when using content, sharing resources, or even creating materials. And the value that an organization can get back, because it isn't just about skilling up one person, it's actually about recognizing that person will go back and then spread the word and share their knowledge and learning, establish best practice processes. This can reduce delays in gaining access to content. It very much improves efficiencies and encourages a responsible yet creative use of assets. And we know that in this really fast-paced, dynamic digital ecosystem in which we operate, where information professionals and librarians are at the very heart, the very core of that content use and access, and also where we're both content users and also content creators. It's really important for those who work, particularly in higher education establishments, cultural heritage organizations, organizations, to have that robust and fundamental knowledge about copyright and how it can be cemented into policies and processes so that confidence isn't just about one person, it's about an organization developing confidence and competency in copyright and efficient management of resources. So there's less duplication, there's less time wasted in trying to fathom out whether something is in copyright or not. There is that sort of real bedrock of knowledge, of copyright knowledge in every organization where content matters, which actually is most of the organizations that exist.
Definitely. So Naomi, just playing devil's advocate a bit
Yeah.
here. What about, the fact that we have the world in the palm of our hands with our phones and just are connected to everything? Can people just search on the internet for what they need to know?
Oh, such a good question. Well, the bottom line is that copyright law is complex and context specific, and librarians and information professionals will find themselves needing to navigate the complex ecosystem of the legislation and also the really important licensing schemes that are in place. For example, those offered by the Copyright Licensing Agency. And so online information and access to, whether it's ChatGPT or Google search can give information about copyright. But our training sessions are expert led and we can work through together live situations and we can talk together about particular situations. One of the wonderful things about the training that we offer is that not only have is there the expert there to lead and guide and provide that space for people to ask the questions they always wanted to ask, but there's so much peer-to-peer learning as well that whether it's in the sort of big space we learn together or in the small workout breakout rooms, people can learn together from each other and get the reassurance that it's not just the problem they're facing on their own. In fact, if they have an issue or problem with copyright, there's almost certainly at least a handful of other people in that training space who have those same issues. And so, one of the correlatory benefits of attending our training is those sort of informal networks that are formed in the learning space that continue afterwards. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I'm the first to put my hand up to say that I learned stuff as well in that space. There's such a rich amount of information that we can learn from each other in that type of facilitated training, the Copyright Essentials training that we run together.
That's wonderful. Actually, other than the fact that you are a wonderful trainer, something that comes up a lot from the delegates' feedback is exactly what you mentioned, the peer-to-peer learning bit and the breakout rooms. They really appreciate that. It's very helpful. So you've just talked about how copyright training helps organizations. Can you tell me a bit more about how we can help staff members personally?
Yeah, absolutely. So, apart from it boosting sort of confidence, um, it's really important to understand copyright as part of professional development, particularly for those sorts of roles involved in either directly or indirectly, um, digitally publishing content, research, academic support. And as I said earlier, librarians and information professionals are often on the front line of copyright queries, supporting students, researchers, academic staff. And so providing them with that up-to-date training, because even if the law isn't changing massively regularly, how it applies does, and the context in which we find ourselves again in that sort of in the digital space, and particularly with the buzzwords like AI, and how does that impact what we do? Um, Having that understanding, um, giving them the confidence to manage content responsibly, interpret licensing agreements, becomes really important when we're working in digital environments. And so, whether it's managing e-resources to digitization or open access to data sharing, copyright needs to be woven into everything that they know. And so, training helps professionals, librarians and information professionals stay ahead of any potential changes and avoid those sorts of risky assumptions. It's also hotwired into CILIP's chartership. It's part of, I think it's your PSKB framework.
PSV, yes,
Yeah, yes,
yes,
the KS
definitely.
framework. I almost got it. And so that is also part of actually demonstrating that they've achieved those sorts of, levels of sort of professional development, formal professional development as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the little nod to our PKSB. We're very proud of it. So another question I want to ask, you know that CILIP, our target audience is information librarians, information professionals. So how does copyright training support service development specifically in libraries and archives?
Yes, I mean, there's so much that librarians and information professionals are involved in, or so many different dimensions where their work will touch on the work of others. And I've already named the sorts of areas, but some of those other areas like digitization program, digital lending, repository management, those sorts of services need to be legally robust. As we said, this is about individuals' professional development, supporting an organization's compliant culture. But this is also about achieving sort of high standards in professionalism and externally the need to also demonstrate that we do things right. This is about sort of reputation and sort of our credibility more broadly. And so weaving copyright into the sorts of decisions we make, the policies and procedures that we have in place, this can be very much supported by attending our training. And it kind of goes back to basics. It sort of maps out what copyright is, how long does it last for, but we really quickly move into, well, how does copyright work within the broader ecosystem of an organization? And so, from a service delivery perspective, having that really robust and firm understanding of copyright is within every organization's interests. Because actually, if they want to do everything better and they want to achieve the standards that we're all trying to achieve, and actually doing more with less, copyright is part of that important narrative.
Absolutely. So you mentioned digital lending, digitalization. So how can copyright knowledge help librarians promote digital literacy?
Yeah, and I think it's a really good question because for many years we've recognized as a sector that copyright is a critical part of digital and information literacy. And so trained professionals in copyright can also embed copyright education into user support, helping others understand how to access, use, and share content ethically and legally. And I think in here there's the buzzword ethically, because copyright isn't just about compliance with the legislation, it's actually about ensuring that we do things in the right way. And so this is again, as a sector, as a profession, the integrity in which we and in how we operate, how we recognize that what we do needs to be supported by a firm ethical basis is also, again, it's another dimension that is an important rationale for ensuring that copyright is professionally adhered to within the workplace.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So we're talking about research and training. We talked about the budget cuts and things like that. It's really important for people to understand how librarians can use copyright training to support research and as well as teaching. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That's a really good question. So what we cover in our training is the sort of basis of copyright, and we talk a bit about how sort of the history of copyright and how it's evolved and the key principles that underpin copyright. But um, an important component of that is that copyright's about balance. It's about balances between the rights of the creators, of the rights holders, but also recognizing that users need to be supported in using content because copyright is also about ensuring that the laws are fair and balanced to support education and culture and society. And so the fair dealing exceptions to copyright are covered in our course because these are important pieces of knowledge, particularly within the sphere of academia and research, teaching, preservation. And we mustn't forget that within libraries, we often have special collections and the specific carved outs in the copyright legislation that support preservation and access to resources are really important pieces of knowledge for our sector to understand. The exceptions, particularly, are underused because they're misunderstood. And so this course is also an antidote to that because this is about building knowledge and awareness and confidence. So our sector can use the exceptions more, they can benefit more. But at the same time, we also cover licensing, I mentioned the licensing schemes in place. We cover getting permissions. We cover orphan works, so works in copyright where rights holders are either unknown or cannot be traced. So this is all about building confidence and skills and understanding because we want our sector to understand copyright more, because this is about responsible use of content. This is about being efficient. This is about building copyright into workflows. This is about reducing risks. So all of these are important business cases for our organizations moving forward to harness the opportunities of the digital space and also AI. We have to understand copyright and we have to have the spaces and the time to understand it. It's not just about going on the internet. We need to put our minds to this. We need to have space earmarked, demarcated in our calendars to attend specific courses like the Copyright Essentials training course designed for librarians and information professionals. I hope that sort of articulates that kind of, the real reasons why attending this course is so important.
It absolutely does. Thank you so much, Naomi, for really helping to clarify some questions that might be coming up, that's often come up actually. And I'm really excited for the next session, Copyright Essentials, summer on the 12th and 19th June. And I will be really happy to see you there. And I'm sure people who will be seeing this webinar also will be excited to hearing more and learning more from you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And look forward to seeing everyone there and come armed with your questions. And yeah, thank you so much. As ever, Laurentine, lovely to chat to you. And thanks everyone for listening.
Lovely to chat with you too.